Welcome back to Campfire Whispers, your daily fix of horror stories, unsolved mysteries, and straight-up unbelievable content. My name is Eki, and today I'm sharing an urban legend based on real events, the Bell Witch Haunting. They said the haunting began with a curse, but by the time the Bell family realized something was wrong, it had already rooted itself deep in the soil, in the walls, and in their minds. It was 1817 when the first signs came, subtle and strange. John Bell, a prosperous farmer in Adams, Tennessee, had built a life carved from the red clay of the land. His estate was vast, well-kept, flanked by rows of cornfields and the soft, rolling hills of the southern countryside. The house itself was modest but solid, its whitewashed walls hiding the years of sweat and prayers that had built it. John was a God-fearing man, stern and disciplined. His wife Lucy was gentler, quiet, with a presence that warmed any room. Together, they raised their children with dignity and structure, especially young Betsy, the only daughter, whose laughter had once been the melody that threaded through the halls. The Bell home was known for its calm, until the noises started. At first, it was scratching. At night, just after the candles were snuffed out and the silence of the farm settled in, something would scrape against the walls. Not like mice or wind. No, this was slow, deliberate, as if claws dragged themselves across wood. John searched the house, the cellar, the loft, but nothing turned up. Then came the knocking. 3 hard raps on the front door. Always 3. Always just after dusk. But when John opened it, there was no one outside. Only the wind in the corn and the heavy weight of something watching. It wasn't long before the sounds came from inside. Whispers drifted through the house at night. Muttered phrases, sometimes laughter, other times weeping, though no source could ever be found. One evening, as Lucy prepared dinner, the pots and pans on the shelf began to tremble, clattering to the floor with no cause. Betsy started to complain of her bed covers being torn from her in the night. Then, bruises appeared on her arms, small, finger-shaped marks. At first, John refused to speak of it outside the home. Pride and faith anchored him, and he feared scandal more than spirits. But as the events worsened, neighbors began to notice. Animals refused to go near the Bell property. Horses bucked without reason, and milk curdled prematurely. The air around the house grew colder than it should have, like a breath held just behind your neck. One night, a family friend, James Johnston, was invited to stay the night. He was a devout Christian, skeptical of ghost stories. He brought his Bible and declared he would sleep soundly. But in the middle of the night, he woke to the sensation of invisible hands pulling his sheets off and slapping his face, once twice hard. He left before sunrise, pale and shaking. The next day, he confessed that the house was touched by something ungodly. As time wore on, the entity's voice grew clearer. It would sing hymns, quote scripture, or mock the family in low, guttural tones. But it saved the worst of its wrath for John and Betsy. John suffered from violent seizures, episodes that came suddenly and left him gasping, bleeding from the mouth, his body racked with tremors. Betsy's hair was pulled, her face scratched, and sometimes she would be lifted from her bed and thrown across the room by unseen hands. Word spread like wildfire. Locals began to gather outside the Bell house, hoping to hear the spirit, which now called itself Kate. Some claimed the voice would answer questions, reveal secrets, or mimic the speech of neighbors perfectly. A few visitors fled in terror. Others returned again and again, drawn to the malevolence like moths to flame. Still, no one could explain what it wanted. Lucy tried praying louder. Betsy stopped going to school. John's health declined. One night, Lucy awoke to find a black mass hovering near the ceiling. It had no shape, only the sense of presence, heavy and ancient. When she blinked, it was gone, but the cold remained. The Bell, which by now, the entity had taken on that name, seemed to feed on fear. The more people believed, the stronger it grew. It could be heard, felt, even seen by multiple witnesses. Doors slammed, furniture moved, food spoiled in seconds. Betsy was the favorite target. The spirit loathed her relationship with a local boy named Joshua Gardner. Whenever they spent time together, the spirit grew violent. Betsy eventually ended the relationship, and only then did the attacks lessen. In 1820, John Bell died. The spirit took credit. In the weeks before his death, John had suffered increasingly violent seizures. The family found a strange vial of black liquid in the cupboard the morning after he passed. No one had ever seen it before. When a drop was given to the family cat, the animal convulsed and died instantly. The spirit laughed and claimed she had given old Jack a dose of that last night. He was the only person the spirit ever vowed to kill, and she did. After John's death, the activity began to subside. Not entirely, but enough that the Bell family could breathe again. In 1821, the spirit said she would leave for 7 years. And she did. When she returned, it was to John's son, Richard. He claimed she visited for a few weeks, speaking to him at night. She seemed less aggressive then, more like a memory than a force. She vanished again, saying she would return in 107 years. Whether she did is still debated. To this day, the story of the Bell which haunts the woods of Adams. The old Bell farm is long gone, but a cave nearby still bears the name, the Bell Witch Cave. Visitors say it feels wrong inside, like something ancient still sleeps beneath the earth. Tourists report hearing whispers or seeing shadows move across the walls. A few have emerged with scratches or with the feeling of hand around their necks. Skeptics call it legend. Locals aren't so sure. The Bell Witch wasn't just a ghost. It was something older, something that didn't just haunt a house, but shattered the laws of nature. It was heard by hundreds, touched, spoken with. It had knowledge no spirit should have, and it hated. No one knows where it came from. Some say John Bell was cursed for a bad land deal, or that he'd committed some sin hidden from his church. Others believe it was summoned by accident, a name spoken in mockery, or a game gone wrong. But most believe it never truly left. They say the Bell Witch waits, not in the shadows, but in the echoes, in the places where the land remembers grief, in the silences between breaths, in the voice that repeats your name when no one else is in the room. And sometimes, if you knock 3 times on your own wall at night, it will knock back. If you enjoyed this story, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Join me next time for more unbelievable tales on Campfire Whispers.